And I feel like Robert Hood. I'm off this percolated. I got a percolated. I give it a percolated. I show it a percolated. They know who in the street. What's up with Caesar? Go retorted this shit at the party. I take you until it energy. I'm giving 9 by energy.
I hope you like that little intro of me repping the new BFTV merch. Is right here. We got ourselves that little camo design built from the bomb. You know, you gotta have that Florida on it because that's where I'm from right here. And then since 2018, that's why I started the channel. So I got all these shirts made. They're packaged up. I folded every single one of these. So there's a link down there in the description if you want to go get one and support me in this channel. It's limited quantity, so once this design is sold out, it is sold out, and it will timestamp you as an OG subscriber. Let's get right into this video. Today we're going to be working on the 2009 Yamaha R6 that everybody's been asking about, and I'm going to make it look like a 2020. And I was waiting for the fairings to come in, and they're finally here. So let's get over there, and I'm going to show you what we're going to start getting into and making this bike look like the 2020. We're going to come over here to the R6, and I already put this front stay bracket on it right here. This is the 2020 front stay, but the problem I'm having right now is with this is the 2008 to 2016 gauge cluster, and the mounting points on it are backwards, so I already drilled holes so that it fits in there. I need to drill one more down here at the bottom, and then I have to cut out the back end of this right here.
They got caught. And
we are good to go to mount this gauge cluster. I had to modify this gauge cluster here a little bit. So I took the Dremel. Let's see if it'll focus. I took the Dremel and I grinded these tabs down on the gauge cluster because there's not going to be any of these garments inside of there. It's just going to sit right through it. So I grinded those down just a little bit, about the thickness of the metal. So I cut this hardware down too. Did that good old with the grinder. Making custom hardware right here, and we're about to mount that gauge cluster up. And then we can put it on this headlight assembly, and I'll show you how I wired it up. Ooh, this doesn't look like much right here, but I'm telling you what I got going on here in the front. This is like the main part of doing this conversion, was getting this front stay on with this gauge cluster. We got some gauge cluster action right here. We're getting code 46 right there. Don't know what that is, but we'll figure that out as time goes on. I'll show you how I did this. So wiring's pretty simple. Got this all mounted up nice on that bracket. It looks a little rough from behind, but you're not going to see any of that. This is all you're going to be seeing when you're riding this thing, and that looks solid. And I got it mounted deep enough in here so where the windscreen isn't going to be touching it. So I mounted the relays where the headlight control module goes for the newer bikes. And then we got our sensors. I just swapped them over into this intake. You have to switch this intake RAM. And then we got our headlight plugs that are going there. I got them coming up right here because I cut the OEM harnesses off this OEM headlight. And yeah, that kind of sucks. I destroyed this headlight by doing that. But what I did was, let me put this on the tripod so I can show you. I took the OEM harness. These are the wires on this headlight assembly for the low beam. You just got a red and black, and then for the high beam, you got green and yellow. We're gonna bypass the headlight control module because it's built in on this bike instead of having it up here on the front. And then for the running lights, you have 3 wires coming out for the top running lights on these bikes, and 2 of them are positive wires. You got a black with a red, and then a black with a yellow, and then you got a black as a ground. And I'm just gonna run a wire all the way back and hook it into the rear brake light. So when I turn the bike on, it'll turn these on just like it does the running light for the rear tail. On the 2008 and up, the third eye on these bikes don't actually have a wiring harness going to it. So that's why I'm gonna wrap this in with the wires that are going pretty much all the way to the ECU, and we're just gonna run that with it. But this already works. I already tested it. It took a little bit of trial and error to figure out what wires were which, because it's pretty crazy, because on this harness right here, the green is actually the positive for the high beam, and then the yellow is the negative. So that was a little weird, but it does work. So let's mount this thing up, and then we can start really getting into making this thing look like a new bike. Ooh, look at that! got that thing looking good. What I need to do now, since I got this whole headlight on and everything's wired up properly, and man, I'm just stoked. This looks so good. I have to go get hardware to put these bellies all together. So I'm back from Lowe's with the hardware. So this is what I needed right here. These are like little retention clips. They go on the back side of the plastics, and then you screw your hardware into it. And you can see on this one, this piece needed 4 of them. And yeah, this one I already did. So I just need to put a little bit of heat shield on it down in this section where the exhaust goes. So let's take care of that real... Dang, that was pretty quick. That's really the only piece on the right side that you have to put the heat shield on, because the top of the headers, they're pretty far over. So let's mock this piece up. I'm really excited to get this piece on. So actually, before I put this belly fairing on, I'm gonna put this exhaust piece on. I already did it before once, but I took it off because I was trying to make a little custom exhaust for the ZX-10R, but that didn't quite work out, so I kind of destroyed the pipe that was on this bike. So let's just see if I can put that on like the heat shield. There we go, I got that bad boy on. And anyone that said that that's not an exhaust, I know that's not an exhaust. That's just a tip. It's a delete for the muffler, because if you still have the catalytic converter on down there, it muffles it plenty and it provides back pressure. So that tip is all you really need for this bike to sound really good. But let's get on to... Yeah, we got this side belly fairing on. There's 2 mounting points that aren't matching up on this bike. So right here, I said that that was gonna match up, but I took off this bracket, and this bracket actually goes at a bend, so I'm gonna have to bend this bracket flat, then re-drill another hole in it up a little bit higher to get that mounting point to match up. But the lower one matched up, this matched. This right here, there's no way anything's gonna match into that, so I'll probably just put a tab, because that doesn't really hold it on at all, because this fairing right here, I don't know, you can tell, shaking the whole bike. It's on there really nice. All this stuff up here at the front is matched on really good. So now I'm just gonna come over here and hopefully everything matches up on this side. Let's just go ahead and instead of time-lapsing it like that side, this is my thing for this video, we're snapping. It didn't work that time though. Dang, look at that. So all this stuff is mocking up very well. Like it's just mocking up absolutely perfect. So every single piece on this side, every bolt hole is fitting up properly. And then even on this side, all I did was take that little bracket that was going right here, and I hit it with a hammer and flattened it out. And now look, I got hardware in there. This whole thing is mocked up good. Everything is really on there nice. Also, another part that really matches up good, so these are like the little air ram covers, but the air ram's in the center. But on a lot of bikes, they're here on the side. And even this piece right there matches up with that. So they actually end up sitting in the place really good. You can see I got this one on right there. And the only hole that doesn't match up on doing this whole front end conversion is this right here. And it really doesn't matter because you got a main mounting bolt right there that goes into the frame. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take an M6 bolt and then put a nice sized washer that goes right there so it looks like it's proper. And then just put a locking nut on the back side, just holding it on there. And yeah, this whole like front end is gonna be on there really good. So let me just finish this up and I'm gonna put on that front fairing piece. And that'll be really it for the front end other than the windscreen and the mirrors. Ooh, boy, she is done for right now. Check this thing out. I got that front fairing piece on, and I really do like the style of these 2017 and newer R1s and R6s. Well, 2015 and newer R1 and 2017 newer R6s. I think that looks absolutely sick. So all this stuff went on really nice. I'm just waiting on the windscreen and the mirrors to come in and she'll be good to go. So what I did to make these running lights stay on is I ended up running the wire underneath the tank. I ran it across this side right here, up through here, and then I ran it into the running lights on the rear tail light, which I actually ended up wiring back in. And I did that for a reason, because I was thinking maybe instead of making this whole thing look like a 2020, I would just keep this rear tail on this bike. Let me know in the comments if you guys think this is a good idea. But what I would do is I'd probably pull this piece off right here, I'd vinyl wrap it, and then I'd probably wrap the tank matte black along with that white piece matte black to match this right here. And then I'd have a 2017 and newer front end with the older rear end, which I think the rear ends look pretty cool on the R6s. But the reason I'm thinking this is because I haven't ordered the subframe. But before I make the decision on what I'm gonna do, let me know down in the comments if you guys think it looked cool if I left the newer front end on this bike, painted that matte black, or wrapped that matte black, and then the bike would be finished. And I don't think anyone would have a bike that has the newer front end with the older rear end, which is kind of vice versa towards the R1 that I did right there. But let's pull this thing outside actually and see what it looks like once I just put the seat and stuff on it. Well, too bad this battery won't hold a charge and I can't start it back up. But check it out. I got it off the stand for the first time. And man, this thing, it's nighttime out here, but look at that. I am so stoked with the way this thing turned out. It looks so good. I'm gonna end the video right here. So I'll catch you guys next week, and there will be some GSXR 1000 content coming to you guys. Peace out.
Sit down.